Next news, breaking news.
The old Air Force One just made its last ride, and Donald Trump is lining up a July 4th debut for a new Boeing 747 painted red, white, dark blue, and gold. That's not just aviation trivia, that is a national mood in one image. Trump closed out the G7 in France on a 35-year-old aircraft the stale establishment left hanging around like a museum relic, and then turned right around and pushed America towards a bold new symbol of presidential power. Even Dan Scavino felt it, signing off with, "Thank you, Air Force One 2900. One era ended on that tarmac. The next one is about to roar over Washington. You see, symbols matter, because power matters when the commander-in-chief steps onto a tired 1990-era VC-25A that served presidents for more than 35 years. Every ally, every enemy sees the same thing, whether America still acts like the strongest nation on earth or whether the dead-eyed bureaucrats in Washington turn greatness into managed decline. Donald Trump just snapped that decline in half. His trip to the G7 in France marked the final flight of the old aircraft. And the Trump administration is targeting July 4th for the new Boeing 747 to join the fleet, not next year, not after another swamp committee meeting. July 4th. The Air Force already finished the security modifications and flight testing. The plane is being painted now. Meanwhile, the sneering establishment that stalled upgrades for years gets exposed by the contrast. Trump prepares a White House flyover in patriotic colors. Joe Biden, the former auto pen president, gets spotted on an American Airlines flight to Chicago like yesterday's discarded prop. One side projects command, the other side boards Group C. And that idea of renewal matters off the runway too, because plenty of Americans want the same kind of upgrade in their own lives. Now, you've probably seen the clip, Joe Rogan sitting with Mel Gibson talking about people close to him who went through serious health struggles and then saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan brings up light-based therapies and how they impact the body at a cellular level. And Gibson says it straight, this stuff works. And that got my attention because in my own life, I watched something very similar unfold. For a long time, my wife was dealing with constant discomfort and anxiety. It was one of those draining battles that wears you down day after day. Then I found red light therapy through Jonathan Otto. If you want to check it out, search the interviews I've done with Jonathan right here on this channel, or go to myredlight.com. Use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. It's one more way to stop settling for worn-out answers. When Americans find something that works, we don't apologize for it. We use it, and we move forward. Now back to the image that the regime press can't stand. The detail that nails this story shut is not just that Trump's G7 trip was the last ride on the old VC-25A Air Force One. It's that the replacement is already past the hard part. Security modifications done, flight testing done. The plane is being painted right now in red, white, and dark blue and gold, and Trump's team is eyeing a July 4th arrival with a White House flyover in play. That's not delay, that's momentum. And the tweets exploding over this tell you exactly what Americans know and what it means. Deborah Simmons points out, was this the last flight for the outdated 1990 Air Force One? Will President Trump's next flight be on the new plane? Let's take a look. Man, it's really something else when you see Air Force One. It is such a symbol of America. But that raises the question, was the old 1990 bird taking its final bow? Now we get the answer. The Air Force is targeting July 4th to roll out Trump's new 747 with a bold red, white, blue, and gold paint job. The Air Force moving to finalize it. It is the Boeing 747 that was gifted by Qatar, being painted red, white, and dark blue. A White House flyover could happen July 4th. Security modifications and flight testing is done. The plane is being painted.
Targeting a July 4th delivery for the new Boeing 747 gifted by Qatar that will join the Air Force One fleet. A spokesman for the Air Force told the outlet that security modifications and the flight testing is already done and the plane's being painted. They recently unveiled a new red, white, dark blue, and gold color scheme. Brett.
I'm told there could be a flyover of the White House on July 4th. We shall see.
We shall see. So the new plane reportedly being finished for July 4th debut. Now Trump officials are signaling the current Air Force One may already have made its last presidential trip. Trump administration officials confirmed that the recent trip to G7 marked the final flight aboard the long-standing Boeing VC-25A, the current Air Force One aircraft, which has served presidents for over 35 years.
End of the old Air Force One. Top Trump aides seem to be hinting at a farewell to the iconic presidential aircraft. White House Communications Director Stephen Chung tweeting, "Well done, good and faithful servant, the last ride." And Dan Scavino writing, quote, "I have been fortunate to fly around the world on this iconic plane for 5.5 years of the 35 years that has been serving as U.S. president. Thank you." This comes amid reports that White House officials have had discussions with the idea of making Trump's planned July 3rd trip to Mount Rushmore his first flight on the new Air Force One. How about that?
How about that? So you hear the hints from the Trump aides. Next, he makes it personal with a direct thank you. This is the post from Dan Scavino giving you a really interesting look of Air Force One. He said, "I've been fortunate to fly around the world on this iconic plane for 5.5 years. Of the 35 years it's been serving U.S. presidents, thank you. Air Force One, 2900. What's interesting about that plane is that, you know, President Trump has his own presidential library that's planned for Miami, I believe. And this plane is going to be placed inside it, much like Ronald Reagan's Air Force One. So the farewell made it official. The old jet is headed into history, and now supporters are framing what's next as more than a new plane. They're calling it the start of a golden age. Take a look at this. Here is President Trump's beautiful new Air Force One jet. The old AF-1 jet's last trip was to the G7. Can't help but see the significance of the end of the olden age and the beginning of the golden age. Now, they had said it's being painted, so I'm not sure if somebody made an AI video of that. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments what that little icon in the top right means. But either way, that is an accurate representation of what the real plane looks like. So social media reaction turning the aircraft swap into a symbol of the Trump comeback. Meanwhile, out of LAX, even aviation watchers were caught off guard when Trump's personal 757 suddenly rolled into view. Airline videos, a true I didn't see this coming moment at LAX. Trump Force One, the Boeing 757-200, arrived during the airline video's live broadcast on June 16th, 2026, catching plane jockey Kevin off guard as it rolls into view on camera.
What is this? Trump's plane. Well, this wasn't on my bingo card today.
Tower, good afternoon, Southwest 4978 on Zulu 24 right. South 4978 to Lake Tower, runway 24 right, go to land. 4 right, clear to land, 4978.
What a good catch.
did not have this one on my bingo card today. The Trump 757 at 200, making a rare north side arrival, 24 right.
Police 3, LA Tower, left hand subscriber 2999er. Good and Bravo airspace as requested. Squawk 0231.
From Trump's branded jet drawing attention on the runway, the contrast gets sharper. Next, Biden seen boarding an American Airlines flight. No presidential jet, no commanding image, just another passenger. But it's, of course, Joe Biden shuffling.
What if his wife's with him? Yeah. I just had one on a flight 2 weeks ago. That's no way. Yeah. I was wondering, well, what are these cars? Yeah.
Is he getting on my plane?
You must have been.
So here's the verdict. The failed establishment mindset gave America a 35-year-old presidential workhorse and years of drift, delay, and excuses. Donald Trump shut that chapter at the G7, and Dan Scavino captured the moment with a line that hit harder than any press release. Thank you, Air Force One 2900. That was the salute at the funeral for the old order. Then came the next chapter in plain English from the Air Force. Security modifications done, flight testing done, the aircraft being painted. How? Red, white, dark blue, and gold. On whose watch? President Donald J. Trump's. While globalists and legacy media snicker at pride itself, Trump is physically rebranding presidential power for America's birthday. That is command. That is confidence. That is a country climbing out of managed decay. So take in the split screen here, because it tells the whole story better than 1,000 think pieces from the corporate press. Trump leaves the G7 on the final flight of the old Air Force One, then drives towards a July 4th entrance for the new 747 in patriotic colors, with talk of a White House flyover hanging in the air like a challenge to every national decline peddler in Washington. At the same time, Biden shuffles onto a commercial American Airlines flight to Chicago, a spent relic from a failed era that already blew past its expiration date. That contrast is brutal because it's earned. Patriots build. Patriots upgrade. Patriots move the country forward, and Trump's doing all three in front of the entire world. And the same establishment class that mocked him, stalled him, and tried to shrink every America First victory will sneer at this too, because they hate national pride when they can't control it. So share this if you're ready for the golden age, and look to match the golden age fight. And make sure you stay connected with the Next News Network by going and texting raw feed to 844-840-4963. That is the number I set up just for you guys so that you can stay connected and get the notifications directly from me when YouTube fails you. And since we're celebrating the wins, celebrate America 250 with us by going to the merch shelf below this video or simply going to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.